everyone, this is Deb with Four Seasons Crafts. So today we are going to make the projects and cards that are part of the February card club. So this one includes the Playing in the Rain paper, dies, and stamp sets. So these are the stamps, and you'll see you have all these fun characters. And then inside you're going to see the dies, which there are many. So I've die cut most of the items in here. I think we're going to cut out a rabbit. So I'll just take that one out and set it off to the side. But the rest of these have been cut. One of the things I try to do in each card club kit is to use everything. So this one we use every stamp set and every die in this suite. So that is it. This is the paper. One of the things you probably maybe have heard, the dies actually cut out these different characters. So it cuts out the bunny. It doesn't cut out the puddle, but it cuts out the bunny, it cuts out the fox with the umbrella, and then of course the turtle. So super fun, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, one of the first things, let me show you, this is the 3D project, and it's a bag with a card holder. So one of your cards, you can actually then slide in here and fill this with different kinds of goodies. The thing I love about this particular bag, one, it's very reinforced on the bottom, but it also only takes one sheet of Designer Series paper. So this will be in a separate video following this one. So when you're done with this video, you can go right in and see how to make your bag. So there we go. All right, so we are going to start with our first card. Oops, let me go ahead and pull in the supplies. So those of you who are not familiar, when you get your card club, you get all the supplies to make 2 cards of 4 different designs. So a total of 8 cards and 1 3D project. So everything is cut for you. So it's super great from that perspective. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take our piece of Designer Series paper here, and we are going to adhere it to a piece of basic white. And that is our first thing. So our paper in this particular kit is just gorgeous. And some of it, oh, I'm having, sorry, oh, there we go. Just needed a little shake of the glue there. All right. So we are going to go ahead and adhere this piece down. All right. Now, you also received, or you would have stamped and die cut 2 images here. So we're going to go ahead and use our Stampin' Blends here, and we're going to go ahead and color this little guy. And this is Daffodil Delight. And we're just going to color in his jacket here. I'm doing this probably a little quicker than I typically would. We'll add maybe just a little bit of dimension here around some of his. Okay, let me see. This one might be reaching its end, guys. I think, yep, I think he's a goner. All right. That's okay. We have this, and then we'll color his nose using Flirty Flamingo. Give him a nice bright little nose there. All right. This is always super fun, you guys, in kind of coloring these different images. Very relaxing here. Give him a little bit of pink on the ears. All right. So we have that. Now we're going to take our turtle here and do the same. We're going to go ahead and color in his shell. Now again, you received pieces so that you could stamp and cut these, but you could also take your designer series paper and just cut out like around the image, and then use your die to actually cut out the image itself. All right. So this particular, if you're not using the designer series paper, there's a lot of opportunity to color. We'll just say that. Okay, now we're going to use our mossy meadow and our old olive, and we're going to just get a little bit of color around him. I think it's time to get some more Stampin' Blends. I think some of my markers are drying up here. But we'll go ahead and do a little coloring. And then we'll use our lighter color here. And I don't know if you guys can see, but the way they're alcohol markers, for those of you who might not be familiar, Stampin' Blends are. And I know when I used to watch people, I'm like, well, what's the difference between that and regular markers? The Stampin' Blends, because they're alcohol, they are going to blend together without leaving streaks or lines like a regular ink marker would. So that is the difference. So when you have a small item to color, you absolutely could just use your Stampin' Write markers. Totally fine. But when you are coloring a bigger section and you want something that looks a little more blended, then you would want to use your Stampin' Write markers. And some people use a different brand, and that's fine too. Okay, so I think this is it for this coloring. All right. And again, one of the other things, if you guys are looking to color something and then you want to go back, you probably are better off coloring and then coming back to your images. And that will help you know if you need to fill anything else in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take the top of our card. We're going to go ahead and add this. And these measurements are all on your PDF. If you subscribe to Card Club, if not, and you guys would like them, you can email me. They are $4 for the PDF with the 4 cards and the project, if you would decide you would like to buy them. All right, here's one of the cool items in here. So we're going to go ahead and lay our fence first. Now we want to make it look like our bunny is actually hopping over the fence. So we want it to look like this. So we're going to glue most of this, but leave a little place for our bunny to jump around there. So we're just going to add just a little tad bit of glue here to get this to stay in place. And we're going to pop that right down here. And before I press that all the way down, I'm going to go ahead and adhere and put glue on the back of the rabbit. And there we go. We're going to make him look just like that. And we'll put that down and this down. And now it looks like he's kind of jumping over the fence. One of the other items in the dies is a little tree stump. Now, if you guys want this to look a little more kind of real, as opposed to it just being the soft suede paper. You can take, I'm going to take Early Espresso here, and I can literally just kind of tap it in my, kind of drag it on the edges here and get just a little bit of color. Now you can take your blending brush if you want, whatever you so choose. All right, I'm just trying to get a little bit of color on there. So there we go. That's going to give us enough to make it look just a little bit more. You could take a sponge dauber, whatever you would like. And again, we're just going to take some adhesive and we're going to put it right here next to our rabbit. Now we're going to take our turtle and we're going to pop him up on some dimensionals. Okay, so we're just going to take this and put it up on dimensionals. Now in this particular kit, what you received was you got a whole pack of the Designer Series paper. You also received, make sure I get him down here just enough. You also received a whole pack of the twine, and then you got 100 of the flowers, and you got more like 120, but you got a third of the pack. So lots of those, and we were able to order them early, and therefore we got them in on time because it's they actually were on back order. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and stamp our greeting. Now, let me show you guys. On this one, you'll see I used a happy birthday. On this one, I'm going to go ahead and use the rainy days because that's what I have with me here. But you could make these any greeting you have, of course, right? Any greeting that you have in your arsenal, as they say. And we are using Cajun Craze. We're going to go ahead and stamp this. And on this particular one, we are actually going to stamp it more toward the right, or the left, I'm sorry. Because we're going to notch this out. Okay. Let's just clean our stamp here real quickly. Okay, now we have a piece here as well that we are going to adhere to the bottom. But let's go ahead and notch this out. Now, I have the tag punch here, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. You guys could easily just put a slit, cut down the middle, and you'd be good to go. So totally up to you, whichever way you prefer. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little adhesive and we're just going to add it to this piece of Cajun Craze, and we're just going to pop this over top of it. Now, I'll tell you guys why I think it just gives it a little more color. But the other thing, I like to put a piece of cardstock under here because for whatever reason, I feel like sometimes when you put dimensionals right underneath a piece of white cardstock, it always looks like it's bending. I don't know. Probably just me, but I don't always like it. All right, so now we're going to take some of our twine and we're going to tie a really big bow. Okay, so we're just going to kind of double it up and tie an extra big bow here. And we're going to have that bow underneath our sentiment. Now you can put it off to the side if you want to do something different, whatever you want to do. All right, grab our scissors. And when you double it, you're going to have that piece there, so you're just going to pop that off. Okay, so now we're going to take our glue dot here and we will just put that right in the middle, and we're just going to pop that right up there at the top. And now we're going to take this piece and put dimensionals. And you guys know anytime you have something underneath and you're going to put dimensionals, make sure the dimensionals are always on the opposite side. And sometimes the best way to do that is to go ahead and just put your dimensionals right down on your card. And then that way you can just take this and pop it down. Okay. And that way it lays nice and flat for you. All right, we just have one more final touch, and that is to take some of our flowers and we have the inside too. We're going to take some of our flowers and put those at the bottom here. Now, if you have a take your pick tool, this is probably one of the best things to use, I found. You're going to take the putty end and you're going to take your glue dots. And this is what I found the easiest thing to do. You're going to pick one of these little flowers up. And by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but both sides, just like the ribbon, both sides of the flower you can use. So it's not like you have to get them going one direction. So you're going to take the flower and you're going to stick it on the glue dot. And then you're just going to take the pointy end, pick that right up. And if you have to move any of them around, and then we're just going to lay those right along the base of our tree stump. And that's it. So pick it up with one, add it to a glue dot, and then take your tool and lift it right up off there, curl it under if you need to, and then plop it where you want it to go. All right. And you guys get the idea, right? There we go. I'm gonna make sure. I'm going to add one more and then we'll be done. But you can add as many as you like. And these are awesome, I will say. I liked adding those to the project. I think they really did a lot for this particular card. Okay, now we're going to take the inside of our card and we're just going to adhere this right to the bottom. Now, if you guys cut two strips, if you cut one long strip that's 4 inches, you are going to have to take a ½ inch, or I'm sorry, you're going to take 3/4 of an inch off across the top. And this right here is 3/4 of an inch. So it's going to give you a nice way to add some color to the inside of your card. And then I'm going to show you one thing I did on the other card as well. Right, so here we go. Make sure that's all lined up nicely. And just add this to the back. And voila. We are going to be done with card number 1. So again, you get supplies to make 2 of these cards. Okay, there you go. Here is the first one I made. And again, you guys can color in the daisy that he's holding if you want. One other thing I did on this card is inside, I took a blending brush and just put a little bit of old olive at the bottom. It just gave it a little more color in there. Totally up to you, but there you go. Okay, that is card number 1. Now we're going to move on to card number 2. And oops, that is that card. So here are, we have lots of little items for this card. We don't need quite, we have some extras in there, I think. So let's get some of this out of the way. So on this one, we have a lot of grass and we have some puddles. So we're going to be doing a lot of gluing. I have some pieces here in Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. And then I took out a piece. This is 2 inches by 4. I'm sorry, yeah, 2 inches by 5 1/4. And I have 2 of those. And these are the pieces. These are the opposite sides to give you an idea. So these are the 2 we're going to use. And then we have a white card base and then a piece of basic black. So we're going to start with our piece of basic black and we're just going to adhere. And we're going to actually use our Designer Series paper to give us our nice kind of story, so to speak, the backdrop to our scene here. And take this one. And I really do love this paper because like our first card, right? It's sunshiny and they're sitting on the stumps. You know, it's kind of happy and they're bouncing over top of the fence. I loved it. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do here is we are going to take our twine and we are going to wrap this around a couple times. And the reason we're going to do this next before we adhere anything else is because we really need the middle of that card to be all set. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just pull it all the way through so I have enough here. And then we're going to take, I'm going to pull just a little bit more. And we have so much. So, and then I'm just going to wrap it around probably twice and come back around the other side. Okay. And now I'm going to make sure that it's nice and taut. Pull it up over. And then I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot or a bow here. And when you guys tie this, you're going to kind of want to make it so it's pretty tight. Because when you let it loose, it's going to drag a little bit all by itself. So you want to make sure that it's nice and tight, and that way it'll stay. And that went much better than the first time I did this. There we go. All right, so we're going to grab our scissors again, and there we go. So now we have our kind of a bow, we have our line, and obviously you guys can see that kind of takes away then where you can see that dividing line. So now we have some grasses. We also have all of these cute little daisies that we stamped out and then die cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to color these a little bit. I don't want to take too much time. So I'm just going to add a little bit of color here to them, and then we can, just so we'll adhere them, move along. All right, guys, we'll add a little bit of green here. There we go. Okay, now one of the things that you can do with all this greenery that we have here, so we have, oops, I think I just lost one of the flowers, didn't I? Well, now that's funny, guys. I had, there we go, it fell. All right. So one of the things that you can do is we're going to bring in a blending brush here. And one of the things you can do with these is actually ink up, put a little green around them, and it won't look so stark white. So that is what we're going to do. We're just going to put these on here, and we'll put our grasses on here too. And let me just show you what we're going to do. So they're out of our way. We are going to go ahead and take Old Olive and a blending brush, and we're just gonna swirl that in. And remember, as always, put always a little bit there, and then I'm just gonna go over top of this, and then I'll show you kind of why when we put it down, you'll just see that it has a little bit of a different look. Now I'm gonna do the same on these grasses here. And again, the other thing I can do like we did before is I could just kind of tap these right in the ink and get it to be just a little bit more, make it look a little bit more real, so to speak. And we'll just dab them. And then we can compare, okay? Because I didn't do this to our first card, our sample here. So we'll see what we end up with. See what we like better. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have everything colored in. Now we're going to bring our card back. And now we are going to go ahead and take this and pop it up on dimensionals on our card base. Let me go ahead and let's burnish the ends of that. And again, we're going to take dimensionals, pop this up, and then we'll put the rest of the items on it. Now, the other thing is, on this one, I actually put a greeting here, and I stamped right on the designer series paper. So I'm going to do that here as well. And we'll do again, rainy days are better with you. Let me just make sure I didn't. Let me just, I'm going to test this. I re-inked this, and that's always a little, so I'm just going to do a couple taps here, and we'll just hope that it goes well, guys. Okay, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to put it in the corner this time. There we go. Not bad. Do as I say, not as I do, right? I would have definitely stamped this before I would have put it on the paper. But I forgot. So let's go ahead and clean our stamp here one more time. All right. Getting all lots of distractions there. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are just going to take a little bit of adhesive here, and we are just going to start putting our grasses down, and we're going to want them to stay above our twine here. Okay, and we're just going to layer those and have them go different directions, you want them to go some up, some down, and again, just put them throughout. There's no right or wrong as far as how you're putting these on. Okay, we are gonna cover up some of them with our flowers, but our grasses we're all putting down and just with glue. Okay, with adhesive. And you might have to get some things moved around. And then I'm going to show you something else that we're going to put on here. And that will also cover up some of our grasses. Okay, so now we have these, and we also have now our flowers. Okay, so we're going to be filling those in several places as well. Now, for our flowers, we want 2 of them to be just adhered straight down on our card. And then one of them, we're going to pop up, the middle one here, we're going to pop up on dimensionals. And again, you can pick and choose, left, right, doesn't really matter. And we're just going to stick a dimensional back there and put it right here. Oops, I think I didn't quite get enough. There we go. And then I have a third one, and I can put that either right here. On the other one, I had it a little bit more over here. So I think that's where we'll put it. No, you know what, guys? I might have just not spaced those a little differently on this one. So I think what we'll do is we might just, I think I might put it right here. Why not? The nice thing, right, about whatever it is, whatever we choose to do, right? But I love how the little turtle just looks like he's kind of sticking up from the back. And now what we have is a couple puddles. So what we're going to do is we're going to adhere some adhesive. And we're just going to pop those right down here. And we're going to do another one. And put it right here. All right. And look at that. What a nice little scene. Isn't that cool? Okay. I was, I think I told you guys I was going to pop this up on dimensionals, and I think I had a little squirrel moment there. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll do that right now. The only reason why I would say do it before is just so that you don't have to, you don't have things maybe, you know, crushed or whatever in the back there. All right, there we go. So let's see, we have a card that is kind of a bright and sunny. We have one where we have some puddles and some flowers coming up, but we're still seeing an umbrella. You're going to see a couple other ones we have too. Anyhow, I just love it because I think they're all a little different. I'm going to make sure that I've got this lined up pretty correctly here. So, because I love the thin border, so we just want to make sure we get that right. All right, there we go. There you guys go. Now, the other thing you could do is actually put some of the little flowers right on these green pieces. I didn't do that initially in my instructions, but I did do it on the other card. So let me go ahead and show you. And this is what you end up with. So super cool, right? So this one has the little flowers on it. This one does not. And this one has hello, and this one has one off to the side. So you can do it a couple different ways. By the way, if you also noticed in the designer series paper, the turtle can go, it's in there 2 different ways. So there you can kind of see it that way too. All right, that is card number 2. Okay, let's clean up some of these dimensional papers, and we will move on to card number 3. Let's get out all of our pieces for this one. All right, so we're using some Mango Melody here, and we're going to do a couple layers. So we have the umbrella paper, and we are going to just pop that up on our paper. Now, some of these, this doesn't really have a direction one way or the other, so don't feel like it matters in this case. But some of them you do as you trim your designer series paper. You want to make sure that you get it going in the right direction. All right, but our umbrellas are kind of going all different ways. So just make sure you're going up and down. I think if it was this way, that might look a little different, a little odd. All right, so now we're going to take this right here, and we're going to go ahead and adhere it to the, oh, and you know what I did, you guys? That's okay. So this was supposed to be the flower side. Oh, well, that was a mistake. So when you guys do this on this side, make sure you're putting the flowers on that side, not the umbrellas, but that's all right. You know, it's funny, when I designed the card, I actually liked it with both umbrellas. Then I thought, oh, you know, I like the flowers too. So I guess I'll have one of each. So this side, you're supposed to have the umbrellas. All right. So there we go. So this one is attached. Now we'll take this and we will go ahead and adhere it down. And voila, there we go. So we have our 2 pieces here now. Look at that. I love it. All right, so there you go, guys. Now we're going to take our piece of, you received a circle die cut, and then you needed to cut out one of the little pigs with your own circle die. And then that way it went right, we're going to put it right in the center there. We're going to add this to our circle. Now what we're going to want to do with this right here is we're going to want to only adhere it to half. So what you're going to do is just flip it over, only put adhesive on half of it, and then you're going to want to turn it over and get your little pig there exactly like you want it. Double check in the back just to make sure that you're all the way on the left layer. And this is shiny paper, so you might want to just press it a little bit more to make sure it's still there. Now we are going to take our piece of white cardstock and we are going to go ahead and stamp an umbrella in the corner. And again, we're going to stamp rainy days are better with you. So we're going to take our Memento Black and we're going to go ahead and stamp our greeting. And again, we just need to tap here because we don't want to get too much ink there. And we'll put that in the middle. And then we're going to take our umbrella and stamp one in the corner here. There we go. Okay. And we'll just clean that later. Now we're going to take this right here and we're going to adhere it to our piece of cardstock. Now, while I have this, I'm going to go ahead and take and color the umbrella in pumpkin pie. And again, you guys can color in whatever color you would like. There we go. And we'll go ahead and adhere this to our Mango Melody layer. And then we'll adhere this to the inside of our card. Just pop this right open and layer it right inside like that. And there we go, guys. Look at that. All right. Now we have a few other things that we get to add. One of them is clouds. And we're going to we used our die cut to cut these out. So we're going to go ahead and adhere those right on top of our cards. So one's going to go right about here. And again, I'm layering it right on, just so you know, I'm gluing only on the top of the circle because obviously I don't want to get it here. Otherwise it will close my card. Then I'm going to take the other two and I'm going to add dimensionals to these. So I'm going to actually grab another set here. So we will just put one on each cloud. And then we're going to layer these as well. So we'll put one right about here and the other one a little bit further up. There we go. Okay. Now we are going to take this Oh Happy Day and I actually have, there it is. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to layer, you received a small piece of white and designer series paper. We're actually going to layer those two, but we are going to make our white just show a little bit here at the bottom. And then we're going to flag it. And I'll tell you why, again, I actually did this initially where the cardstock was kind of just right on this layer. And I absolutely did not like the way it looked. I don't know why. It just didn't, I don't know. It just didn't look right. It looked like I stuck a piece of paper to the card. And I was like, well, that doesn't look very attractive. So I'm layering a piece of white, just showing a little bit here at the bottom. And now I'm just going to cut down the middle, and then I'm going to go right over here and cut right to from point to point. Now, you guys, I have that other punch, right, that I could use as well. This one's a little wider, and because it's 2 layers, I decided I would not do that. Okay. So now we're just going to take this. We're going to adhere it right up to the edge, and then we're going to add a bow, and we are good with card number 3. You guys go. What do you think? Okay, and on this one, we're just going to add just a small bow. There we go. Oops. All right. Turn this down. Use a little glue dot. And again, you guys can always just kind of roll that glue dot underneath the corner of your ribbon, and we're just going to place it right there. And there you have it. There is card number 3. And this was the original. So you guys can see this is what your directions say. You actually should show some of the flower paper. So maybe in the comments, you guys can tell me which one you like better, with the flowers or just with the umbrellas. But I think they're both, I like them both. I really struggled with which side to use, but I did want to show more of the designer paper. And I love the inside. So there we go. We have kind of a little guy with some clouds. All right, now we are on to our last card. And here are all of our pieces. Let's get a little, don't really need our blend, so we'll get those out of our way here so we doesn't look so cluttered. All right, guys, so here we go. We have lots of pieces for this one, but it comes together pretty quickly. All right, I think I have a little dog hair there. Okay, so what you guys have are, you have 3 umbrellas in your packet. You also received this die, and I didn't know what it was for. It took me a while to figure that one out. It is the top of our kite. So we are going to layer this, this way, right on top of our kite. Now, I meant to do this more in a pink color, so you guys will see. It's pretty much the same, but that's all right. You'll see the other one as well. I have 3 bows. That is 1 die in our die set that gives us those 3 bows. And I lined the die right up, on the striped paper, and that's why it looks like that. So it really was, I thought it was kind of cool. Now, remember the 3 clouds that we had from our first card right here? Well, this is the remnants of it. So I actually just used this on this card. So make sure you don't throw certain things away, because sometimes you can use them in different ways. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble this card. We have 1 die cut to do, and this is a rabbit that's right out of the designer series. And this is that striped paper, by the way. If you lay the die right on here, you'll get that nice little stripe on your little kite bows. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut this rabbit out. And I just want you guys to see, I literally can take this, put it right here, and then die cut him right out. So I am going to do that um, with the little mini guy here. And we'll just pop him right on our tray. And then I'm going to take a piece of Post-it note tape here. And we'll just pop that right on there. Now, one of the things, you guys, when you're using this, just make sure you make your plates uneven. And then that way it'll be no problem getting your plates to go through. Okay, I'm going to pull this just a little bit closer to me and try to prevent as much shaking of the camera as I can. There we go. Okay. Set this off to the side. And here we go. And there we go. There is our rabbit. Our little rabbit. But isn't that nice? So much better than coloring, right? I mean, not that there's anything wrong with coloring, but sometimes we don't always want to do too much. Okay, let's go ahead and start. So we have 4, you guys have 4 of these sheets that you had to cut. 2 of them we're going to reverse. The other 2 we're going to put on the outside of our card. So this is a basic gray. By the way, you guys, see this is like all banged up there. It's just, I don't know what happened to my card, but it kind of banged up. We're going to go ahead and flip it this way. So there we go. So make sure when you're doing this, you have the raindrops so they're actually falling down. And we're going to go ahead, adhere these to the outside. And so when you first look at this card, it looks a little like kind of dark. You know, it's a little bit gloomy. But I don't know about you guys, if you grew up, I loved rainy days. My mom did, my grandpa did, I don't know, maybe it was, my grandpa used to stand in his garage and watch rainstorms. He would have his radio on and he would just stand out there. And, you know, the garage was separate from the house, so it wasn't like, you know, he had a door, literally had to kind of walk outside. All right, you're going to want to make sure that you get those panels even on both sides too. All right, there we go. Now on the inside, we're going to take a piece of the cloud paper. So this is where the flowers are below. We just wanted the top clouds, and we're going to put this right in the middle here. So it's going to go right in middle of our card. So again, we're going to kind of make kind of a scene here with the paper. There we go. And then on this one, we're going to use the opposite side, and we're going to have the pink showing inside our card. On both sides. Go ahead. Do you need something? Tim, do you need something?
He doesn't need anything.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
traveling through. Is it everything okay?
Yeah, I'm still recording. Get out.
I gotta just use my thing. I gotta go to the bathroom too. I just had to take a break.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we have a lot of pieces here that we have to adhere. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take a piece of the umbrella paper and you're going to adhere it to one of the white squares. We have visitors, guys, in the way of little furry animals. All right, so we're going to take one umbrella here and we're going to adhere that. Okay, we're going to set that off to the side. Okay, we have two more white pieces. All right, now let's go ahead and finish our scene. I got a little distracted there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this kite piece and I'm going to just dot a little bit of glue on there and we're going to adhere it to the kite. Now, it only goes one direction, so you'll just have to figure out which way that is and then lay it right on. And there you have it. And we're going to adhere this down first. So I am actually going to look here, make sure I have this the way I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere first our little bunny. He's going to be in here. So we're going to put him down at the bottom. Okay. And then we're going to have that kite go right by his hand. So we're just going to kind of tuck it under there a little bit. And then you can have it line up right there. And then with each one, we have 3 of these little bows. You can do glue dots, whatever works best for you. I think I'm gonna use the glue dots. I feel like I can roll those up underneath and get good coverage. So I'm just gonna space those out on the line and add those. So if you ever wonder, I think glue dots are great for twine, baker's twine, linen thread, any kind of ribbon or small pieces, because sometimes trying to get glue on those is just a little more tenuous. Okay, now we're going to add one more. So you could also take these kite bows and you literally could make them bows right on your creatures there, the different little animals. You could use them for that as well. So multi-purpose, right? Certainly. And then we have butterflies. So we have 2 butterflies and we're going to go ahead and adhere those on the top. And we'll have one kind of flying that way. And another one flying the opposite way. Oops. A little too much glue, maybe. And that is the inside of our card. So right here, if you look at the outside, it's a little darker. We open it up. It's nice and bright and cheery. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we have to finish the outside of our card. So we're going to take, you got another small, this is, I think, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 square. And it's got 2 with a score line in the middle. Again, the measurements are all in your instructions there. And what we're going to do is we are going to take a piece of another one of our white squares and we are going to adhere this gray piece to the white, because if we put it on here we have these dark gray blocks and that's really not what we're after. So we're just going to add a little adhesive here and put this right down. And there we have it. Now we're going to take our sentiment and we are going to put it right here. Now, before we do that, and by the way, I want you guys to notice, the sentiment is here, and there's more of a space here, and that's because we're going to have some of our umbrellas that we have cut out here. Once we color those, we're going to put them right here. So let's go ahead and adhere this first, right on our card, and that way, then we'll start to pop things up on dimensionals. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put that right here. And then we have another piece. The other piece is going to go on the inside. And all right. I used to love rainstorms. Oops, there we go. Get that in there. Okay, now we're going to stamp just, let me, you know what? I think I forgot my ink color. That's okay. We'll forego. There is, let me show you the stamp. It is this raindrops. And you can stamp those right on here. And that gives us a beautiful set of, let me see. You know what? I think I might actually, oh, I have one right here. So this is the perfect balmy blue. That was the color. So great. I have an extra one in the room I'm in. That's awesome. All right. So we're just going to take this and we're going to put these raindrops kind of right down here on the corner. Okay. That is all we wanted to do. Pretty simple. Now we're going to go ahead and adhere this to the inside of our card. Now, this is where you would put your message. So if you were if you were writing a note to someone, you would put that right in. You could write that right here. If that is not enough space for you guys, you can always go to the inside of your card and add strips of white here as well, or add it to the back of your card, either way. All right, so now we're ready. What we're going to do is we're going to have this be the front, and then we are going to layer this on top. So we only want to put adhesive on one side. So I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive here. And let's see. Yeah, that's good. And then I'm going to turn it over, line it up, make sure it's lined up not only in the center, but also up and down. And then we're just going to have this sit right here on the top. And again, I'm just going to double check, make sure I don't have any glue on the back. And press that down. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals to my layer here. One of the other things I found, you know how I said I don't like to do a lot of white layers like this, because I feel like when you put them on dimensionals, they seem to be a little floppy. I did do these. I don't know if you guys noticed in your kits, for those of you who got them. I did this actually with thick cardstock, and I like that so much better. I really did. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this right there. Let me make sure I'm lined up before I press too far down. So I think right about there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our 3 umbrellas here, and I am going to do one in a pretty green, and we're going to do one in Flirty Flamingo, and then another one in Pumpkin Pie. And I'm going to, you guys can do shading and all of that if you so desire. I think I might just, I might shade this one a little bit. And I found with these, like when you're doing these small pieces, certainly that chiseled tip is much nicer in my opinion. Okay, and then we'll do some 40 flamingo in our last one here. Throwing the markers around. I love these bright colors. You guys will have to tell me how you like it on the outside. Okay. All we're going to do now is we're just going to adhere these to the outside of our card. And again, this could be one you're only going to want to put a little bit of adhesive here on the bottom because we want the rest of our umbrella to stick up. Okay, we're going to want it to be up a little bit there. Okay, then we're going to take another one and we're going to lay it on the bottom right here. Have that one kind of get tucked under there a little bit. But we want to see that beautiful color. And then we have our orange one. And again, we're going to kind of focus and put the glue on kind of in the middle there. And then we will want that one to be right here. I think this may have been my favorite. So let me show you. Let me show you why. So now you have this nice card, right? And it opens up and it has your message here. If you close it, then it opens up this way and look how cheery. See? It's like so cheery inside. All right, and then here's the original. So you guys will notice, see right here, I just was able to die cut out a different color. This one just looks a little more the same, but super cute. Love them both. One of the things I did find, I just need to probably burnish these edges a little more, and then it will lay flat like this one. So just keep that in mind when you're going through the cards. All right, well, let's go ahead and pull them all back in again so you can see all the different designs that you have in your kit. For those of you who want to participate in Card Club, if you go to fourseasonscrafts.com, you will be able to say that you want to sign up. And then once I get your info, I will then send you a link to be able to join. But you can read all about it at fourseasonscrafts.com. All right, there they are, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the cards. I can't remember if I showed you this. So this is the 3D project, and it has a little pocket here for one of the cards to slide right into. It's just one of those medium envelopes. And this is a bag made out of one piece of designer series paper. So I loved it. It fits envelopes. It could fit, tissues, a game, all kinds of things that maybe somebody could use on a rainy day. So the next video you will see out there, this one's in a video by itself outside of the cards. So that one you can look for. But here are the cards here. And I think that's it, guys. Thanks much for joining. Bye.